Ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard Foreign Strategies. Prepare for takeoff.
Yo, what's going on, guys? So today I want to talk about how to pick a place to stay when traveling as a single guy. So honestly, on my last trip, I really screwed up in so many areas, so I really wanted to make this video, as well as a lot of people have reached out. How do I pick a place in certain places? Like I know a lot of people reached out about Rio, but I really want to make this extremely broad and go over how you pick a place to stay regardless of where you are going around the world. Start off, all of this is based on you booking an Airbnb, because I recommend when traveling to book an Airbnb, because hotels, to me, you're limited on the amount of things you can do. So the first thing I recommend is the location. And when I say location, personally, I do not like staying in tourist zones. So the first thing I do is I look to see where the young professionals live, because where the young professionals are typically where things are happening. But it's not the tourist happenings, it's more of the local vibe. You get the local restaurants, the local bars, the local clubs. And if you're out there, you're a single guy, you want to date, you want to meet people, you will most likely be close to people if you stay in a place where other young professionals live. And on top of that, it's gonna be a little bit cheaper than staying in the tourist zones. You're gonna get more of that local vibe, you're gonna get more of that feel, and it's just gonna make, honestly, your experience so much better and so much enriched than staying in tourist zones, which are very commercialized. It's annoying. People are constantly trying to sell you stuff. So honestly, I recommend staying where the young professionals live. To do that, you either Google it or reach out to people beforehand and figure out where that particular location is. The number two thing I look for is I want to be near a supermarket, meaning I want to be able to walk to a supermarket, because honestly, guys, I always forget something. I always forget multiple things where I have to keep going back to the store. And honestly, let's say you have somebody over, right? And you got a bottle of wine, and oh, you look and oh wow, there's no bottle opener. Oh wow, there's no this, there's no that, X, Y, Z. And that is going to happen. So being near a supermarket is key, guys. It is absolutely key. First of all, it's gonna save you money. You're not gonna have to, especially if you're there for a longer period of time, you're not gonna have to eat out every day. You're not gonna have to Uber and lug groceries back. You can just walk and get what you want. Thirdly, honestly, this is a personal preference, but I'm sure you guys probably feel the same, but I look and see if there's a doorman, because I personally do not like doormen. I do not like that. I do not want them in my business. I do not want an extra layer to get to my place. I just want to walk in. I want my freedom. I don't want nobody looking at me, asking me questions. I don't want to have to sign anybody in. I do not want to have to deal with that. And especially if you're traveling to places like Colombia, places like Brazil, they're all, not all, but like 90+% is going to have doormen. So I always look out to see if there's doormen. If you're traveling to places like Europe or parts of Asia, you don't have to worry about that. So I always look for that, and do not forget that usually in the Airbnb profile, it will tell you if there's a doorman. Where you find this is in the check-in part of the listing. And what I look for to determine if there's a doorman or not, because sometimes they might not list it, I look and see if it says self check-in, especially if it says self check-in with a key box, or they say the host will meet you and give you the keys. So that's a hint that, okay, there's no doorman, because usually, not all the time, but usually the doorman checks you in. So that's what I look for to determine if there's a doorman or not. Or honestly, you can straight up ask the host if there's a doorman, but that kind of comes off as a little suspicious. I have an Airbnb business myself. If somebody asks me that, I'm like, why do you want to know if there's a doorman? Are you trying to do something suspicious? If you don't care, that's fine. But just to be straight up honest with you, if you want to bring in guests, that's just another layer that you have to go through that you might not want to deal with. And honestly, if you don't have to, if you can find a place that doesn't have a doorman, I promise you it will make your trip much easier, especially in those places that I mentioned, Brazil, Colombia, Mexico. But if you're in Europe, it's fine. They typically don't have doormen. Okay, the number four thing, okay, when you're actually looking at the listing, what else should you look for? This is what the number one thing I don't recommend you do is do not book a studio. Obviously, if you're on a budget, that's all you can afford, book a studio. But if you can get a spot where there's a living room and a couch that's separate from the bedroom, that is ideal. It just makes things much better when you're inviting somebody over. You have a couch, you have a table. It's rather than you sitting on a bed. That's just not cool. I mean, if you're younger, you can't afford it, that's fine. But guys, get you a place with a living room. Separate the living room and the bedroom. Back in the day, I used to do that, and I learned my lesson thing. Sitting on a bed, watching TV, drinking a glass of wine, just wasn't a good look, guys. Number 5, honestly, this is not a must, but it is a plus, and I tend to like to book places with porches, because having a porch is the key to success. Because when you invite someone back, or let's say you're out with someone, right? And you're like, yo, I have a nice porch with a nice view. How about we go back and have a drink? Or let's say you want to go, you want whoever to come straight over. You're like, yo, I have a really nice porch. I think it'd be nice if we can sit out, have a drink, talk, whatever. That has worked tremendously. Honestly, I don't think I've ever been shut down when I've invited ladies over to come drink with me and talk on a porch. So guys, that's a gem. Look for places with a porch. Number 6, so this is huge. If you are staying for longer than a week, do not book your entire stay while you're still home. Go there and check it out first. So usually what I do is, let's say I'm staying in a specific city for a month. I look and see that the place is available for a month, and then I only book it for like 3 days, because I want to go in, I want to check it out, see what it's like before I commit. Because if you get there and you have it and you hate it, but you have it booked for 2, 3, 4 weeks, it sucks, right? Because you can't get out of your contract. You're taking a risk because it can get booked. Like, let's say you only book it for 3 days, those other days can get booked. And if you like it, you're kind of out of luck. But that is so, guys, I'm telling you from experience, that is so much better having to move a place rather than being stuck in a place that you cannot stand. Number 7, this one is simple and very straightforward, but you would think a guy like me who travels a lot, who has an Airbnb business, I would know this, but I make this mistake myself. But is to read the listing, guys. When you're traveling to these certain places out of the country, we're used to certain norms in the places where we're from, but some things are not normal everywhere you go. So for example, I'm gonna use Colombia as an example. Colombia, every place does not have hot water. Every place does not have AC. Every place does not have a washer and dryer. Every place might not have Wi-Fi. So, and if it doesn't say it in the listing and you get there, it's not their fault, it's your fault. You didn't read the listing. They don't say they have Wi-Fi, they don't have to provide Wi-Fi. Read the listing, and what you can do is set a filter at the beginning. Set a filter with all the things you want. If you want a washer, set that filter. If you want Wi-Fi, set that filter. Because you're gonna get caught up and you're gonna be looking at a lot of places, you're gonna forget, you're gonna see something you like and the location you like, and you're just gonna book it, and then you're gonna get there and you're gonna be like, wow, I screwed up. So guys, read the listing. Honestly, that's probably the biggest tip to take from this, is read the listing, read the reviews, and I promise you it will make your trip much better. But other than that, guys, I appreciate you guys for watching.